Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. Today we've got the first big tournament since Set 8 dropped. And I know we've been talking about Set 8 for so long, but it's kind of crazy to me that it technically only dropped like 3 days ago as of recording. But yeah, a really cool event. We had, I believe, 130 players with 7 rounds to top 16. And we've got this sweet array of leaders here. We've got 10 different leaders in the top 16. That's crazy diverse. It's pretty normal for the day one events, but it's really cool to see all these different leaders do well. Shout outs to PPG once again for providing this graphic, and also the deck list really quick. Past couple events that hasn't been the case, and we've had to scrounge again, so I really do like just being able to do this as fast as we can and get the info out to you guys. So yeah, big contenders. So we've got 3 baby Vegetas and 3 Brolys. These are the yellow Brolys BR. They're just 2 different archetypes there. So not super surprising with Broly. It's really just approaching like best leader in the game right now, in my opinion. And so he's got a bunch of different archetypes, and people kind of have to start asking themselves the question, will this be better with Broly as the leader? And I think they'll find it out. Yes is the answer enough. We also have the Android 8. We had 2 different decks for that, and also Android 18. These decks were pretty similar in a lot of ways. We'll go into the actual deck list after going through this. 2 Hatchiyak, which is I'm really happy for. I thought these would be good decks, and we had 2 in the top 16. If you saw my top 10 list. I placed this as number 1. Spoilers, it did not win the event, but just the fact they got to top 16 I think is great. We also have a OG red baby, which is cool. A golden Frieza, which spoilers also, we don't have the list for this right now. If it does show up, if someone puts a list out or makes a video for it, I'll put a link in the description below. Same with one of the I think we're missing one of the Broly decks. I do the same for that as well. We also have a Golden Frieza deck. Shouts to Hayden for that. Very cool that he placed high with this. A Shenron deck and a Beerus deck. So lots of diversity, and even with some of the leaders, there was a little bit of a diversity there too. So let's jump on over to the actual lists. Here are the lists. There's going to be a link to this in the description below. There's a minor error in here. This top 8 list is not in. There wasn't a Kid Q in top 16, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to say it. But thank you so much for Mark Hill for putting this page together and just being able to host this, and also Simon Boschert for inputting all these lists by hand by himself. That's a huge pain, or weight off my shoulder to do this, because it takes a really long time to do this, and some people have bad handwriting, and then you gotta double check things, and it's just a huge amount of work. So I do appreciate that being done. And you can see some things you can't see otherwise, like just some like card dominance, which is I think a really cool tool for here. So once again, links going to be in the description, and let's jump on to the first place deck. This is Justin Rios, Super Baby 2, and we also have second place. We have Marcel Russell with Super Baby 2 as well. They're pretty similar. And I don't know, the main combo for this, and I'm gonna like, I don't know, I'm patting myself in the back a little bit too much, because I think it was kind of obvious that at least Baby's going to be present, if not very good. But this is pretty much like what I've been saying, and this is what, if I was going to PPG Dallas, this is kind of the deck I was going to be bringing, and it kind of has like the same. A lot of the same things that Marcel's deck had that got second. The big difference is different in leader, but yeah, I think this is really powerful, and especially for like a day one event, you really want to, when people don't know what the meta is and people don't know how to counter or what to counter, the best thing to do is just be as aggressive as you can, and this chain is just super duper aggressive. Being able to using Baby Vegeta as your leader, this Dr. Mew and Baby Evil Origins, which I personally have thought it wasn't super good, because you don't have a way to go into the 3-drop, because that, or like the 2-drop red one, I thought like that doesn't make sense. But for this Dr. Mew, you play him for free, and then you get out this Baby for free, so you go +1, and then this draws you 3 and drops 2, so it just like cycles through your deck. It gets what you need automatically, and looking back, it's like, duh, why would you not run this card if you have room for it? So it is restricted to just the yellow Baby leader, in which there are 2 of, but this just seems like a really broken combo, and just like sets you up for success. Like, even if you're just playing this for like this gets played for free if you have a multicolor energy, and so if you have this in your hand, you don't have to even worry about doing nothing. If you just charge a multicolor turn one, you're still like cycling and getting through cards, and being able to like drop extra multicolor cards that'd be stuck in your hand otherwise seems it's just great. So yeah, and so I'd say that Justin Rios is more a little bit control heavy, and I don't know if that's the correct word, because this is still super aggressive and all that, but it has some options for the mirror. I'd say is like the big thing to say. Beerus no holds barred is really good. Just being able to rival it for 2 and just blow up something during the combo step. Or if something has like if someone they have like a dual attack or a triple attack that just keeps swinging, you can just play Beerus and then you put in rest mode and they can't swing anymore. And that just kind of shuts down people, because it's even better than like removing dual attack or triple attack from a leader or from a card. And it's also leader cards too, so like even the like awaken side, if they swing with leader, you can say Beerus, drop it, and then rest their leader, and they can't swing again with it. So I don't know. It seems like this card's really flexible in a deck that you just need red yellow cards anyways. I don't think I talked about in this video already, but the chain is that you have this 4-drop out, you go into the 5-drop for free, and then you EX evolve onto the 7-drop. You take as much life as you can with it. Get your opponent's leader to like 0 or less, because your opponent's leaders can go negative. And then after that, you awaken, and when you awaken, you play this 5-drop and also the 3-drop pan if you've got it. This has triple strike. It has offering, and also like this pan can just still work on the 7-drop if you don't have the 5-drop Son Goku. But you just put a lot of pressure on. And the coolest thing too is when you have these 1-drops, the Dr. Mew and the baby as well. Your opponent's leader is like at -5 or 10, 15. Then these, even though they're only 10k or 1k or 4k, they're still swinging in, right? Because your opponent's leader is so negged that these can be free attacks and free damage if you need them. So really cool there. Other than that, nothing too fancy. Topo is a great card to make sure that you don't get out aggroed yourself. Super Baby 1, just like Super Baby and I think Toa both have like the idea of like, oh, you pure tapped out, you need like one more attack, and then you just play them for free because they can be played for free, and then your opponent just can't go over them. So that's cool. In the side for Rios, he has 2 Battle of the God or Battle to the Death, which lets you take like 3 additional life, which is crazy. 1 double striker, another topo, some of the 5-drop, the secret rare, which I think this could have been like if you watch their finals match between the two of these, their last game was super wonky. They could have gone to 5 energy and played this guy, which is weird, but there's that. Flying Nimbus and Time Magic I think are both great, especially like in the mirror. Not always, but I think Nimbus can be great for stopping. Like if they're already like halfway through their chain and they start attacking, then you just play Nimbus at the right time. They've kind of like committed their life, but they can't finish the game anymore because they can't swing. So that's really cool. And then just kind of like some more generic, like Fu's great, especially against Hashiak, which would probably be one of the hardest matchups for this. If you can only swing with one thing, this can be a really big help for there. And then moving back over to Marcel's, the biggest difference for his is that he did the chain, the Chi chain, which once again I thought was super good, and I'd say like the best. Spoilers. The best reason that you do this is because you'd want to make sure that if you're playing against Hashiak, which this deck thrives about having a big turn 3 where you swing just a bunch of times. The idea is that this guy can go into your 8-drop, and then it's an 8-drop, so it can get around Hashiak, and this thing swings a lot of times, and you also boost yourself. And even like the other thing to notice is like combination attack pan is fantastic, especially when you can just get this out on the 5-drop. And kind of what I was saying earlier with the 1-drops is that your opponent's leader is going to be negative, and so even though these are just 10Ks, these are free 10Ks that you play. And then they can still swing and do damage, because if they're at like 0, your opponent has to like invest 3 5k combos just to get rid of this attack. So great for applying pressure and just free things to summon. Also, he's running Chomp in the main. I mean, it's Marcel Russell, right? So he's going to have Chomp in his deck, but this seems like it can be a little. I'd be afraid that it'd be stuck in my hand, but also it can just guarantee games, I feel like too. So there's that. Side deck's pretty similar. I'd say like Dark Power Black Mass Saint is a big difference, and also cooler. I'd say this is a pretty good card to have on the side, just because you can guarantee your win if you need to. And also Strategies of Universe 7 was an interesting card. Does Beerus doesn't get around barrier, right? Not for the blow up, only for the switch to active mode thing. So I could see that being like a good way to guarantee that like your engine goes off if you play your 5-drop and then you use Strategies of Universe 7 and go from there. Yeah, so that's about these. I think these decks are going to be pretty prevalent, but I also think part of the reason they work so well is because people, this is a bit glass cannony, because as you can tell, you take a bunch of life to guarantee some attacks, and so if those attacks don't go through, you've got nothing, right? You've got like 1 or 2 life, and your opponent just has to hit you once. So I think it's if you can disrupt them, and I think there are cards that can disrupt this combo. This can be like a really tough situation to be in. So it's kind of reminding me of like Green Broly BR when it came out in set 6. The first like couple weeks it was really prevalent, and people thought it was too good, and then when people started realizing how to play against it and how to get around the combos, because it's the same thing, they take so much of their life when you play Broly BR, that people were starting to figure out how to play against it, and then it just would stop short and really just it would kill itself a lot of the time. So that's my new prediction now that I have one prediction under my belt. And let's move on to the yellow Broly archetypes. So we've got Broly, the Awakened Threat, once again, best leader in the game, in my personal opinion. We've got 2 deck lists with it. 3. But, there is another Super Baby. We don't have the deck list for it. My assumption is going to be pretty close to those 2 deck lists. I could be wrong, but that's my assumption. But we've got 3 yellow Brolys. This is Robert Rizzi's right here. We've got Dehan with his blue-green version as well, and also Tony Rodriguez with a blue-yellow version. So a little bit of diversity there. But the biggest thing like this deck thrives on is Xenobutton, and also like Grade 8 Bardock. That's like the big thing around all 3 of these decks. That kind of concept of, I have like a bunch of things that can disrupt cards. UI is a great card, and I think all of them are running UI as well, right? Yes, technically. Barely. Thanks, Tony. But yeah, just like these decks are just for grinding out value, but also have like a lot of explosive potential. We have Robert with his deck. Is it Robert? Yeah, I'm going to close that. Robert, his deck is like really grindy. He's running the secret rare in the main. I don't think, Dehan was. Each one of them, I guess, are running a big 5-drop secret rare that, is supposed to win the game, and then being able to untap them, so again, is a huge plus with them there. We also have, let's see, so in the side we've got Mafubas, we've got this Goku, some more UI. I got them all confused. Okay, let me start again. So we've got with Robert, he doesn't have the UI chain in the main. I can see why that could be a rough thing, just because if you're playing against like Baby, I don't think you'd really need to be playing this to get in. I think you just have to like make it so like they're killing themselves, they don't have a lot of life, stop them from going off, and then you just go off yourself. So, and like UI Goku is so good at that, and so being able to pressure your opponent, like the reason that Broly's so good is that he can just pressure your opponent just by himself, like just by swinging and self-awakening and just having energy open. Like you're fine, like you can do counterplay stuff because your leader generates like it almost, but it's not as much of a timer as like Janemba Mill, but it just puts them on, like it puts pressure on your opponent, because you're swinging and then you're drawing 2 cards, and if they don't combo out of your attack, then they're going like -2, because they don't get the life, and then they also lost the card in hand. So seems pretty strong to me, and like everyone else. And then like a lot of these cards are just like really good value cards. You have like a mid-range deck that generates a lot of value when your opponent is like losing a lot of value trying to get rid of you, and then you just overpower them at the end. That's kind of like the play style. He got super. I'd like to be in. I'd like to know if he put in this 8-drop. It seems super greedy to me, but he's also running Android 16 to do this energy ramp. This is a fantastic card, by the way. I think the other, let's see, no, Dehan did not run it, but we'll see it in other decks as well, especially the Android 21 and Android 18 decks. But it's just a really good card for ramping, and we've got nothing in this deck that even cares about the energy cost restriction. Like obviously not. But like the secret rare is a great win condition, and if we go into the Ultra Instinct, we'd have to side out the Android 16s, but there's that. So you can't run both these at the same time. But really cool deck, a lot of interaction, really flexible, and I can see why this is able to do so well against a meta where there's so many things and there's like a lot of unknowns. If you just have a deck that can get counter everything, then you can do really well. So that was Roberts. We've got Russ or Dayhan's here. Jeez. Once again, I'd say like the cool thing I really like this Piccolo Cunning Strategist because you can go into the 4-drop, and this guy generates so much value by himself. That they both have it, but Dayhan put the 3-drop in just to get him out on turn 3. But yeah, just being able to like active battle every turn as long as you have something else on the field. You can choose one of your opponent's battle card at any cost of 5 or less and KO it, and if you KO a card, draw one. And this is active battle too, so they can be going all in with something. You can only have this Piccolo by itself on the field, right? Then they go shotgun their hand, do something big. Then you can just like Arrival, get out this 5-drop Goku, and then you have Bond 2 active all of a sudden, and then you can just KO the 5-drop, right? Like you can be like really sneaky with these cards. Arrival is such a good mechanic, and then there's also like the Revive, and so being able to just use this card, get rid of their hand, and like it comes back for just dropping a blue-green card, which, spoilers, there's a lot of blue-green cards in this hand. Or like, I mean, there's blue cards and green cards you can just drop by themselves too, but you don't really care that much about dropping. Like, a lot of these cards are going to be dead in your hand, right? Because they're going to be 10k combos, and so being able to get like a Revival off there is really good. So there's that, and then we also have the blue-yellow version, and I think this needs to be said. The reason that this deck is so good right now is because Xenobutton is back in vogue. Being able to just take all of your energy back, and since there are like a lot of things you can do during your battle phase now with using energy with Arrival, and if you like Great Ape Bardock, obviously, and all that other stuff, being able to fake that you don't have anything in the combo step, and then they swing, and then you just untap everything. Is really powerful. Part of the reason that Xenobutton wasn't really good before all this stuff is because sure, you got to untap your energy, but it wouldn't really do anything for the current attack, right? Because normally, back then there wasn't a lot of things you could play during the battle step, but now that Arrival is kind of here in full swing, and just like we got a bunch of things that said active battle in the set too, so I think that's really good. Cool that Desperate Measures you'd be able to run in this deck. A lot of every other color got like the new extra card that you can, if your life is at 4 or less, you can disrupt something for 1 energy or for 1 life. But being able to, Broly can't do that because theirs just puts them in rest, which kind of sucks compared to the other ones. So being able to have blue energy to play this Desperate Measures, I think is really great. If you play this with the guy and then they use Yellow Chomp to get rid of it, you can just play Desperate Measures to the Chomp. Sure, you need 6 energy, but it's a really good way to play around what options they would have. So really cool. I think these decks are great. Broly's great, and I think this was a smart choice to bring kind of if you're playing like a control deck, it's not full control, right? It's kind of a more mid-range deck where you have just a lot of options for every. You can really counter your opponent if you need to. So cool there. And let's move on to next up, the Hachiak decks. This one is by Russell Stelzer. Also, I think this one got 4th. I think Tony Rodriguez got 4th. I couldn't find out for sure when recording this, but I think this deck got 4th, and I do know that Robert Reitzies did get 4th as well. He definitely got top 4, and I believe this deck list is top 4, but I'm not. If that's wrong, let me know. All right, Hachiak. Really cool that this actually performed. I was kind of nervous by putting this on my top 10 list, but it was really cool, and I really like Russell's list a lot. Like, I don't know why I didn't think about running the Son Goku Adventure Begins, because I was like, makes super sense in Toa. Why did I? And I didn't think about putting in Hachiak, but Hachiak, I think the only bad thing about this deck is that you could sometimes run out of card advantage, and so just having this 1-drop that generates a bunch of card advantage is superb in my mind. And there's a bunch of 1-drop hate that got introduced in this set, but a lot of it just bounces it back into your hand, so you can just play this 1-drop and keep going for it. But yeah, I don't know what to say about this. It makes a lot of sense. It's kind of For a control deck in this meta, I think this is an easy one to just slam because the deck kind of makes itself. Over 60% of it is just putting all the cards in the archetype and then finessing it from there. But yeah, really cool cards. The 5-drop is really great. Shenron's a great card, and you can use this to get back cards like your Temporal Rescue Trunks. You can also use it to untap energy, because I think this deck kind of runs out of energy untap, and when you awaken, you only draw one card, and you don't even untap stuff. So that can be a little underwhelming, so Shenron can help bring you there. Demigra is a great win condition, especially since it's a 10-drop, so you don't have to worry about your leader's condition and all that. So really great archetype. If you really don't like a Vegeta baby, this is the archetype I would suggest for you, just because it's makes your opponent play slowly, and so sure, they can kind of overwhelm you still, but I think this gives you more of a chance. I think some decks are hard against this as well, obviously, but I think this is a great archetype that initially can counter Super Baby if you're worried about that. Also, we have Jason Mikkel, his version as well. I'd say, is more of a standard version, but he really did not like energy ramp. He's really afraid of that. So he main board 4 Force Ejection Mass Saiyan and 2 Dende. He also got these Dash Pack Hatchiacs as well, which Russell did not run. I'm not sure if that was because these just came out and these Dash Pack cards are if he didn't decide to run them, but I think these are great because they're just like a different way to get like a card that can attack twice. There's also the Turles promo card, not the one from the set, but from the tournament packs. I don't think that's actually released yet, or if it did, it just was a release this weekend, so I don't expect anyone to have those yet, but I think that would be a great addition to these decks as well. Let me see it, because not this Turles, but the other one that is a 10k and then can have dual attack if you discard a card. I think that can be really good for pressure and all that. But yeah, really cool archetype. It's not it's kind of like Universe, like the Universe 6 Kaba archetype of last set, where it's kind of most of the deck is built itself, but it's the archetype that itself builds is fantastic, and then you just have to tweak it from there. And I think as time goes on, as people figure out what cards to put in like the last 10 slots and stuff, you'll see more and more prevalence and power and that kind of stuff. So cool archetype there. I expect to see more of it, and I'm happy it got into the top. Next up, we've got the Android 21's list. We've got Andre Melton's list here, and we also have this was labeled as Butters. I don't think it's not Devon's Buttersworth, that's for sure. I don't know who this is, but it's not Devon Buttersworth. But shoutouts to you. If you know what your name is, you should tell me, so I can give you proper credit for it. But these are kind of like the more there's a lot of similarities if you look at like the yellow Broly blue-green decks as well, but they're more on the new token stuff. It's really unique how these work, and I recommend like just playing it. That makes a lot of sense to me on how it works. Andre's list focused more on like token destruction because he has this the Cell and Frieza and all that. He also added the Android 20, which is a fantastic card for the 8-drop. This since it has triple attack, and then if you combo with Android 20, it gets double strike for duration of the turn. So this thing just pump out 6 damage for the entire turn. And also I think it gets a plus 5k power for it. So it's the 30k double strike triple attack 30k with deflect. Yeah, so that's really powerful and can help you finish the game there. But yeah, like the Android 21 scheme. When you or your opponent plays a non-token battle card, it can't attack for duration of the turn, and so this is auto once per turn, which means like the first card you play, it can't attack for duration of the turn, which is cool in the fact that like your opponent has to at least play around it a little bit. If they're going off, there's ways to go around it, especially like in the baby case. If you're playing, if you just play an overwhelm card first, it can't attack, and then you can go on with the rest of your chain. But it's something that at least helps deter, and it's like a little bonus effect for like the rest of other things from here. So there's that, and like it gets around itself because your leader can't. If you play a black battle card, it goes to the drop area, so you can't like overwhelm and get around it yourself. But let's see what else is there. So this is, and we also have Rohit Posadas. He decided to have Android 18 as his leader, which doesn't have too much a difference, but the big difference is that all of your cards become free. Or, like, you reduce the combo cost of all your cards by 1. So all your 10Ks become 0 energy 10Ks, which is really powerful. Especially like if you want to be able to cheat this out for super easily, you don't have to even invest energy, which makes it easier to do on turn 5. Being able to have pretty much free super combos on your turn with Infernal Veiling Cell. So being able to run 8 super combos, I think, is really good as well. It's only, is it just blue and green? Yeah, blue and green cards in your hand in battle here by 1 for duration of the turn. So just being able to run twice as many super combos seems really good. So really cool build. I really like it, and I love to see any of these in play. But I think Rohit's is super cool with all it does. I'd be interested to see if he can get. I don't know. I saw some of the images and videos for this tournament, and just how much energy people had at some time. Like some people had like 8 or 9. It seemed like so. It seemed like there was it was at least somewhat viable at stopping your opponent from swinging and attacking. So really cool there. I don't think I have anything else to say about these, other than like this Piccolo is really good. And people needed to respect it. And I think we finally have a Piccolo card that's worth running and just outside of the archetype and stuff. But I think that's it for me. Also running Xenobutton. I don't think Xenobutton. Let's see. Andre didn't, but Butters, not fake Butters, real Butters. I don't know. He did. So there's that. Also, Tactical Victory Vegeta. This card's really great for the mirror because it can blow up the Android's 21 scheme. And I don't think a lot of people are running cards to get it back. I don't think. Let me see. Yeah, don't believe anyone else is running cards to bring it back. So just getting rid of this card can be a really big headache for the archetype. So I expect more people to be running these and it be successful there. He also had like objection, man. He really wanted to ramp up, huh? All right, that's that one. Next up, we've got Hayden Azar. Shout outs to him. He messaged me like right before the event started, like, "Hey, I'm playing Golden Frieza. Wish me luck." So I'm happy he did so well with it. I really do like this Lemon Lime Golden Frieza. It reminds me a lot of like the Chile deck that I made, and especially since he went the full roundabout by going into the secret rare, the Height of Mastery Victory Strike route. So really cool there. I'd like to see how often he was able to do that. But yeah, just a really cool deck. Focusing on being able to just like this one. I feel like you just have just more grindy, and where you just make it so your opponent loses value and kind of soft locks them in a way by like with getting rid of their cards, putting their energy in rest mode, and like just making it so you negate their skills and they can't really do anything. That's like the idea that I see. You can't really do anything with all that stuff. And also like this Frieza is really good that you can so when this card is placed in the drop area from battle area, you may choose one card in your life add to your hand. If you do, choose up to one Frieza card in your hand with energy cost 2 or less other than Frieza and play it. And so you can do this and you can get this out for free, and then this can when you play it from your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and energy cost of 6 or less, negate skill for additional turn. So that's like a little neat combo there. And all kind of stuff like that. So really cool deck, really flexible, and it's great to see that it did so well. So there's that. Shouts to Aiden. Next up, we've got Jonathan with his OG, I guess, red Vegeta baby. What is it? So he kind of has like the, I guess you'd say like the more traditional version of what they were hoping for. So this 4-drop, I think the biggest thing that this whole archetype is that this 4-drop baby, for 1 yellow energy, you get a 4-drop red and yellow baby, which helps so many chains at once. And just being able to go into this 5-drop into either the 6-drop or the 7-drop for like no energy is kind of crazy to me. Because you could get out the 6-drop if you want for 2 energy, right? 1 yellow to get this out for a rival, and then 1 red to get this out for its active main ability, and then you get this 6-drop 30k. So you can get this out on turn 2, no problem. And then your opponent just kind of has to reel back. I think the thing that kind of checks from it is 1, you have to get the cards for it, and then 2, 1, you have to like commit a lot of cards, because to get this out you have to get rid of 1 or 2 cards. And then Super Baby, you also have to get rid of, this replaces itself, but then you have to have this. So I don't know. I think it's a cool archetype. But I don't know if this is a little bit overtuned or if there's an issue here. We'll kind of keep an eye on this as we go on. But yeah, they also have this one drop yellow baby. I'm not really sure why this one is in here because it doesn't. I mean, I guess you can. Let's see. If your lead card is red, choose up to one baby with energy cost 4 or less. Okay, so you can. I guess it's for. You can absorb it, right? Because choose up to one baby with energy cost 4 or less with the same character name as the name as the card you placed under this card from your deck and play it on top of this deck. So you can play this, and then if you have the baby Evil Origin, then you can get this 4-drop out for free or the actual 4-drop out for free. So I guess that makes sense. Is there any other reason? I don't think so. There's a lot of like chains and like a lot of like decision trees for this kind of stuff. So, but also being able to play Denial of Hope, I think is fantastic. I think Denial of Hope is like the one thing that can get rid of this 4-drop, but you're still using 2 energy to get rid of technically 1 energy, so that still feels kind of bad. And I think that's everything. It's kind of surprising that they're not using Revenge Death Ball in the main. There's 2 on the side. But that was kind of interesting. I also thought it was interesting that they didn't have the red yellow secret rare. Maybe they didn't have it or not, but I thought that would be a really good way to card to put in this deck as well. But I'm not sure if they tried that and thought the secret rare was better after testing. But I at least consider putting that in this deck and seeing how it goes. So that's that one. Next up, we've got the red Beerus with Will. This deck is like, I don't know, like this deck kind of won me over on the red Beerus leader. I always felt like this, I don't know. I think I was probably maybe too focused on like the actual kind of quote unquote archetype that this set, that was kind of being pushed of just being able to get like this 5-drop Beerus. I didn't think this was a good enough win condition. I felt like it was really good at disrupting, but like this deck still needed a win condition. But looking at how kind of flexible this deck is and what everything you're able to put into it, it kind of makes more and more sense to me how this could be good. I don't know. I'd say like this deck would make sense to me after knowing what the format looks like, but just this deck by itself, it would seem like it needed a little bit more oomph. But it definitely performed this weekend, and I thought it was really well made. So really, I feel like it's like 2 steps in front of where I'm at because I didn't know what to counter, and this countered what I didn't know to counter. So. But yeah, so the idea with this deck is that you are counterplaying, you're kind of disrupting your opponent a lot of the time. This leader is able to cycle cards, especially like the biggest thing about these multicolor decks is that you have to have a way to get rid of like cards in your hand that are dead since there's so many 10k combos. So this is really great for that. You can choose one red or yellow card for your hand, place in your drop here, draw 2. It can even be extra cards, which is it? Yeah, any card. Yeah, it doesn't say battle card, which is crazy. Normally it's restricted to battle cards, but since you can get rid of your extra cards, that's great too. And then also on the Awaken side, you can act as main for 2 energy, 1 red, 1 yellow, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it, which is great. And then also active battle, once per turn you choose 1 red or yellow multicolored card in your drop area and combo with it. So this is great for 2 reasons. One, it's for free, and so that means that once per turn you have a 25k leader, which is nuts. And then also that means that if you're comboing with a red or yellow card, you can arrival immediately, so you don't even have to go minus to arrival. So yeah, you could just be at 2 energy, and then you're like, oh, what are they gonna do? They'd have to combo 2 cards, or they'd have to use 1 energy, which they can't, and so they you combo with something from your drop area, and then you can use Beerus by paying the 2 energy since you have a red and yellow into your combo area. So that makes sense to me, and that's really strong. Some extra supporter cards. One, we've got Whis, Godly Fundamentals. That's a great card. We've got Great Ape Son Goku, Saiyan Instincts. That's a great card as well. I mean, like, you don't care, but like if you're just comboing cards anyways, this plus is for you, so that's great. I wonder if like the 4-drop Bardock would be great in this deck. It might be too costly, but that's something I'd consider might be good as well. And then also the secret rare, which is fantastic for closing out games. The only I just don't feel like it's good enough to like rely as your only win condition, and I don't think this deck does, but it's great for it. And then also the Super Saiyan Vegeta exploiting weakness. So this came out in the draft box. Everyone thought it was going to be really good, and then I didn't see any play from my experience, but Counterplay, play this card. If your leader card is red, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So it's a 2-drop, a 3-drop. And when you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards and they get minus 20k power after duration of the turn. And if your opponent's turn, choose up to one of your leader cards, it gets plus 5k power after duration of the turn. So just being able to like wipe out your opponent's field for like 3. Sure, it's counterplay, but I think it can be really good. Pretty much you're just playing reactive this entire game. I'd say like the only thing that I'd want is like a way for your leader to do more damage by themselves, but I don't think it's necessary for that. And the other thing is that this card you don't draw cards on your Awakened side, so that's something to keep aware of as well. It's kind of like what Toa was like. It almost is like Toa, where a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't draw cards on its backside. This, it's a dead leader, but I think this performance proved that wrong a little bit. And I look forward to seeing what happens in the future here. So there's that one. Shoutouts to Will. And lastly, we've got this Shenron deck by Christopher Perez. This is almost a deck that if you went back into like March, or not March, but like summer of this year, it almost looks the same. Some choice additions are the Cunning cards, the Trunks and the Ghost Warriors, as well as this Fu as an alternate win condition. And I think that's pretty much it. There's the Beerus Fickle God. I'm not sure why that's here, but I guess being able to be flexible with your energy is nice. And yeah, it's Path to Greatness, Height of Mastery, Victory Strike is a great combo. And honestly, like, I remember every time there was a new set when Shugesh was around, there'd be 1 or 2 decks that played Shugesh and won with it because no one was expecting to counter old things. Everyone was trying to be a step ahead of the meta and counter new things. And so, it's great to, bring back an old archetype that's really strong, that does have counters, but, people aren't expecting to counter it anymore. And so I think that's what happened here. So shout out to Christopher for recognizing that and placing well with it. Other than that, nothing too new with these 2 of the heroic strikes, and that's really it, right? It's just, this has always been solid, and it's not affected by the changes to world peace or anything, because you don't run world peace. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So here's the top 14. We do not once again have the Prison Frieza list. Hopefully that gets updated somehow, and so if it does, check the description. It might be there right now. Really cool with what's all going on with here. I'm looking forward to the next event that happens to see if Baby's still going to be powerful, if people are able to hard counter and figure it out successfully. Will Dr. Wheelo see any play? Probably not, but maybe. I want to see it some play. So tell me what you guys think is your favorite archetype or favorite deck from this tournament. Let me know what I can do better for this series. And yeah, that's going to be it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.